The track too tough to tame, the lady in black. If you don't have a stripe on the right side of this car, you weren't even trying. Live here tonight for week number 5 of the season, season 6 of the Saturday Night Racing League, presented by M&J Distributors. It's time for Darlington Raceway, live here on VSPEED. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Connor Horn all season long. Connor, another great venue of racing, another variety point in this season. We've seen everything from super speedways, intermediates, and the short tracks. Now it's time to come to a very unique place.
Doesn't really get much more unique than this. A 1 1/3 mile racetrack, kind of egg-shaped because of the minnow pond over there on the exit of what's now turn 4. Remember, the track's flipped around in the late 90s because turns 1 and 2 used to be on the other side, kind of like Phoenix is now, but probably the toughest racetrack. It's too tough to tame. It's the lady in black for a reason. Different set of corners, 1 and 2, much more flat out in the middle of the corners. 3 and 4 need a lot more finesse to get through there of any sort of speed. It's just a very tough track to save the tires. That's going to be the key point, not only just with the new update to the O'Reilly cars, but it's just a tire eating track regardless of what car you come here with. We're going to see 2, maybe 3 seconds of fall off. It'll be helped out because we have a race that's later in the day and not midday like we've seen in seasons past, but it's not going to be fully into the night, so that should be interesting as well. And no doubt the guy we're going to be talking about, even if he's not on the pole, is Jeff Wright. He's won the last 2 races here over the past 3 seasons that we've had 2 races here. He's the betting favorite for this race. He's leading the points. He's already got a pair of wins. He's the guy to beat. 48 always is.
Taking a look at those points, Jeff Wright recently taking that points lead. Seth Hatchell, 23 points away. Kenny Kibbe, so big shuffle here. It was Caleb Weekly and Bailey Turner last week. Now you've got an entirely different top 3 as you go all the way back to Noah Mahalski, who moved up some positions. Adam Cabot drops back a little bit. But yeah, just looking at the points, it's going to keep shuffling around. We're only 5 weeks in, so a lot can change as we progress through this season. Take a look at your race analysis. 147 laps here this evening with a 45-mile-per-hour pit road speed limit. That's something else here, Connor. It's one of the more difficult pit roads to get on and off of. It's not quite Dover, but it is very, very hard to get to the bottom of this racetrack and get on clean.
Yeah, pretty much impossible. I still think arguably Dover's tougher because you don't have options at Dover. You do have options here. You can enter before you get to the entry 3, just get to the apron down the back straightaway, wrap the inside wall around the bottom, and then get the pit road that way. But there's a kind of a wall that juts out near pit entry, and it's very easy to hit the barrels doing that, even though that's my preferred method. But what most drivers are going to do are stay on the banking at the top of turn 3, or at least on the bottom of the banking in turn 3, then cut it down very early. But you got to be careful because at a track like this, that orange cone that's in the middle of turns 3 and 4, you do have to get under that, which is not like other racetracks on iRacing. You got to get under that orange cone or else it's not going to count. I think most drivers are hoping to not be the caution, but hoping there are cautions so they don't have to do green flag pit stops, because that's where the race could be won and lost, because pit entry, you can gain multiple seconds doing it.
Grid up on your screen, starting on the pole with a 29.624. The 05 of James Lehman. How many times have we said the 05's name up on the top spot? Yeah. Joshua Banks will start to the outside. Row number 2 belongs to Nathan Ferrata in the 77. Jeff Wright, your points leader, coming into tonight, will start in 4th. And then you have row number 3 with Bailey Turner, J.R. Shepard, which we'll get a word with in just a moment. Chad Klinger and Chuck Sweeting will start 7th and 8th. And your top 10, Angelo Heronis, Dakota Floyd in the 57.
And Ray Massey starting 11th. He wrecked out very early at Las Vegas after the incident with Caleb Weekly. Kenny Kibbe, better qualifying effort this week. He starts 12th. Justin Ritchie back. He had a good top 5 run going at Phoenix. He starts 13th. Belden Store, a good qualifying run. He'll be up in 14th. Brian Chambliss in that Buc-ee's Camaro, very recognizable with the colors on that car every week. He starts 15th. Case Lakatos in the 16th position. Good start to the season. I should say decent start to the season for him. He's 13th in points. Rob Tampany, 18, will start 17th. Noah Mahalski, the quick lane Ford Mustang, starting 18th. And Philip Brewer in 19th position. AJ Stravada, a little further back than he would want, trying to get his first Darlington win, and his first win in a while. He starts back at 20th.
Caleb Weekly led the points there briefly. He will start in 21st. Elliott Butler, 22nd. Then you have Bryce Shoemaker in a very recognizable paint scheme. Max Cost, his teammate, will start in 24th. Michael Jones and Stephen Davis, 25th, 26th. Justin Carey and Brandon Wallace, as we still have 10 more cars to talk about. Austin Belke and Broderick Van Glavik will finish or start here in the top 30.
Tim Shinosky starts at the 31st position. He's alongside Matt Shinosky, Bum Energy Ford Mustang. With the Channel Lock Supra, they start in the same row. Christopher Hodges, who had almost a victory at Daytona, he'll start 33rd. Ben Lafter in 34th, representing the Thunder, NBA champions. Brian Dean, the 20, still unsponsored, but trying to look for a better run today. He starts 35th. Keith Shoemaker, another start in the series, 36th for him. And then the final row, Mark McFadden and John Sanu, 38-car field, which is a lot for Darlington.
The lights did not come back onto the pace car, so I think we're about to go green here.
I'm not sure. We'll see here. Did get 3 extra laps of green, so in theory, we'll see. Do have to make sure we have time with J.R. Shepard.
Yeah, if we get the pace car past this corner here, we'll pull Shepard up into the broadcast booth. I just want to make sure before we do. I don't want to interrupt here. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the driver of the number 98. J.R. Shepard, it's Bradley Cooper and Connor Horn in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, yes.
Well, I gotta say, right now, based off of statistics, you have consistency at this track. The track, it's really hard to do so. A lot of top 10s, a lot of top finishes here. And I know with the qualifying effort up in 6th position, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I'm glad I got some track position, but it's probably going to be hard to keep it. And it's this place, it's more about just driving the track. It's hard to do because you want to race, but just got to drive the track and try to keep it clean.
Another thing that we recognize here in the 98, you had a good showing last season in Season 5. Where does that momentum come back? You were looking really good, and you've had some hiccups.
I'm hoping this paint scheme change tonight helps that, because yeah, it's been a bad start to the season. I got to get something going here.
All right, J.R. Shepard going to start here in row number 3. Anybody want to shout out real quick before we go green?
Yeah, just my teammates up in the Discord chat there. Appreciate everybody hanging out and everybody watching home.
All right, getting lined up here to go green. J.R. Shepard starting from 6th spot, and James Lehman on the front row. Pace cars off. Here we go for week number 5. Darlington Raceway, and it's the Southern Style 500, 147 laps. Free flag is out for SNR. Lap number 1, Joshua Banks takes the top spot. Side by side for second, James Lehman. How many pole awards that we've given to the 05, and then it's quickly, maybe he's saving the tires. I don't know.
It didn't seem like he just didn't get the initial launch that he needed. Banks actually kind of went a little earlier than the 05, it seemed, and he ends up getting the lead. Jeff Wright kind of squeezed the 05 into the wall, and then he slapped it a number of times. He's already back to the 5th position as a few drivers looked like they peeled off the track. Michael Jones brought it back Lavick, but nothing happened. But very important to stay green, stay single file. And staying green is easier said than done at Darlington, but it's so important to get single file as quickly as you can. And most drivers weren't able to do it before turn 1 on the initial start, but quickly throughout the field, we've pretty much fully single filed out.
And if you watched any of the O'Reilly series here today, that's not what happened at all. These guys were running 3 wide at Darlington. It blew my mind how low these guys were going on the racetrack. And I don't think we'll see that today. Granted, we have a fixed setup, so I think that's the limitation. But we were watching drivers below the white line all day.
Not quite a line that really works here for whatever reason. In the real world, Darlington is even less gripped up than this is. And even on iRacing, you still really don't have that much grip, but it's still more than what you have in the real world. And we'll probably have, maybe half the fall off that we had in the real world today, because they were falling off 4.5 seconds on one singular tire run in 45 laps or so. So we're going to probably not see that. We'll see, I think, somewhere around 2 to 3 seconds, and that number will not be as high once the, kind of a sun goes down a little bit. It's later in the day, so that will change things as well.
James Lehman settles out in the top 5, able to get single file there in the 5th position. But J.R. Shepard looking to disinfect his surroundings.
He sure is, and AJ Travado, I think he had some internet issues, so he dropped out of the race. I'm not sure if he helped that forward or he'd had an issue, but either way, 33 is going to be the first one out of the race for the time being. We'll see if he rejoins at any point, but J.R. Shepard, he definitely is looking for a clean race. He only had one top 10, granted it was a top 5, but tied for 11th in the points of Angelo Horonis, not the start he necessarily wanted to the season, like we mentioned before the race started, but he had track position, and he said it's hard to keep track position at a track like Darlington. I don't think so. I think this is one of the easiest tracks to keep track position because it is so hard for that driver in behind to facilitate that pass and get around you without just giving up the spot. I think this is one of the tracks you need to see the most give and take so you don't wreck in 1 and 2 especially, but it's also a track where you can hold people up the easiest because it's just so hard to get that pass done.
Chad Klinger in the 09 would be the next driver in line to take 6th place from J.R. Shepard. Now, you said that it's easy to keep track position, but I'm gonna play the opposite side. That's what I have to do in the commentator's booth. I think it's harder because the likelihood of getting tight or pushing up into that wall and giving up 4 or 5 spots, easy maybe in the early run, but you start to push to stay ahead of that guy, and that's where you start making mistakes at this track.
The thing is, though, even if you do kind of have a slow moment off of turn 2, if J.R. Shepard was to do that right now, Chad Klinger would still have to have a great run. Like, if the 98 got tight out of 4, really lifted, Chad Klinger would basically have to be half a car length ahead of him to make that pass work, because otherwise J.R. Shepard probably shouldn't let him by. It's just kind of how it works at Darlington. You really need to have one car fully ahead before turn number 1, or else someone's got to lift. I mean, you can't go side by side into turn number 1 without one driver lifting. You're either going to get through their single file off the exit of 1, or you're going to wreck 2 or more cars. So that's something. That's why I think it's easier to make track position, keep it here, is because it's just so insanely hard to pass. I don't think it would have to be a big moment to lose that many spots for most drivers in the field right now.
To the outside, here goes Philip Brewer on Brian Chambliss. We watched a change for position just before that with Noah Mahalski getting around Chambliss. And the 44 goes by as well. Chambliss starting to struggle a little bit here, down 2 spots.
Yeah, definitely just let a bunch of people by in 1 and 2. I'm not sure if it's because he had a moment or he was just letting drivers by because he didn't want to be in the middle of things, but definitely struggling a little bit right now. I saw Matt Shinosky get in the wall, but he kept it straight. But it looked like he and Ben Laughter had contact back for the 29th position. But you could see how things stack up quickly. If one driver's kind of holding one driver up and then you got a bunch of drivers in behind, you're kind of seeing that with the 9 right now. Big gap to Philip Brewer, and then he's got about 5 cars right behind him trying to be the first one to pass him.
Case of Laconis in the 50, trying to get around on the outside, out of the exit of 4. Track gets really tight here, and I think we're going to stay door to door. No, the 9's going to back up and might end up losing a 2nd spot here into 1 and 2. 18 of Hamp to the outside.
And Chambliss is being very gracious with Rob Hamp there, because I think most times someone tries to jump to the outside on entry to turn 1 with that little overlap, they're usually going to get walled. But I think Chambliss knows he's struggling right now and just really slowed it up into turn 1 to let Hamp by. And he's obviously still struggling. We'll see if that higher line comes more into play at the front. We're obviously seeing drivers in 3 and 4 past Chambliss because he's kind of off the pace at this point in the run, but we've seen that line work in years past. They kind of broke Dynamic Track. It kind of went away. Dynamic Track, maybe a little bit of a comeback. We'll have to wait and see if that line becomes something that's viable, though, with how late in the day it's going to get. The track temp's going to come down a little bit more each and every run, you would think. It's at 91 right now. If you get 1 yellow, you could see it drop even more.
Track temperature at the top of your screen, 76 degrees, so that'll make it easy for that track temperature to come down, as Connor mentioned. But we're watching Joshua Banks, and it's about 2-3 tenths separating the entire top 10. You go all the way back to Angelo Horonis, and you just kind of zoom through this field. It is a big gap between everybody. I think that air cushion, that's another factor here, Connor, is you get into somebody's air, and it's very difficult to set up a pass.
It's really hard to, and if that outside line in 3 and 4 doesn't work, it's even more hard to make a pass, because that's really where you have to start to make that pass. You have to try to build that run, maybe get close to him down the back out of 2 the lap before, maybe run high 3 and 4, get a run off of turn number 4. But then at that point, probably get the pull to the inside of them, and if you're lucky or fortunate, they're going to let you by because you're faster than them and all this, all that. But a lot of times they don't let you by in the turn number one. You go in there side by side. You're gonna be probably a second slower on the next lap, and B, you might wreck. So that's something drivers making that pass have to be aware of. Not every time that driver's gonna let you by in the turn one. A lot of times they're gonna fight, especially at the end of a race. There's gonna be no give and take.
Looking at Justin Ritchie trying to get around the 29 of Angela Horonis. Darlington experience here for the 55. It was rough. P36 did not finish in season one after only 31 laps. And it was very early in the league's history. His current season is far outpaces that result. I'm reading directly from the script here. But you look at the odds and some of these drivers, I like where Justin Ritchie's sitting. He's improved a lot.
Definitely improved a lot, and don't know if he had I don't know where he finished, if it might be his first Darlington start. First Premier Series race here. That was a Gen 4 race, and Clifton Cockrell actually finished last to 19th. That was an Adam Cabot victory, but Jeff Wright did not run this race. He's won every race at Darlington he's ran, but we're talking about Justin Ritchie, how he ran pretty darn well at Phoenix. Had a real good top 5 run there, especially when the long run settled in. He pretty much pulled away from the rest of the field, and maybe a driver's track is where he needs to go to get another good run. It's looking like that right now, running P10 right now. And this is, you're talking about how spread out it got pretty quickly. This is where the driver matters more than anywhere else. You're going to see the gaps, even with a fixed setup, the gaps are going to be bigger than they ever have been. You might see more lap cars than you've ever seen because the driver, the talent really, really matters. And that gap is really big because of it. The gap for the lead's not big, though.
Shrunk down pretty quickly while we were talking about that. It was a couple tenths a moment ago. 35 has to defend into the entry of 1. Jeff Wright going to try and get the run down the backstretch. He will have a good one going into the 3 and 4. Doesn't look like he's going to take it yet.
And this is just the last thing Banks wants to deal with is another battle with Jeff Wright for the victory, as like Eldon Stewart hit the wall at a turn 2. But we heard how dejected Joshua Banks was last week. He kind of had that race won. A little bit of a new setup, at least new camera position for Banks, but he was dejected. He felt like he had the race won. It just didn't go his way. He gave up the track position. His Wright gave a little bit of a tap to the wall there. He wants to beat him this week especially. He wants that Darlington victory. So does Nathan Ferrata. We really haven't talked about him yet. He's in a Kodak throwback to the Morgan McClure days of that 4 car. He's right behind these two.
Watching the 77 top 3 within half a second of each other. Jeff Wright not able to complete that pass and maybe slowed this group up a little bit. Ferrata last time by a tenth slower than Jeff Wright. Not even a tenth. It was a few thousandths actually. Just read on the math there, but Banks, Wright, Ferrata, all within a few hundredths. And then you have Bailey Turner, who's slowly creeping into this picture. He's a little bit faster than all 3 of these cars.
Yeah, I think the more that Banks kind of holds these two up, the more you're going to see more drivers maybe get a little bit closer. But really, it might only be Bailey Turner that closes in, because right in behind for 5th, James Lehman's kind of holding up a line of his own. He's got Shepard, Klinger, Floyd, all really right behind him in a line. That's what we're talking about, those gaggles, those packs of cars that you get at Darlington because of how hard it is to pass. There's one driver that ends up holding maybe a dozen drivers up at some point.
AJ Serrano back out on the racetrack, 3 laps down after the connection issue. The 33 back out here, 22 laps in.
You want to know how much tires matter? He's only 3 down, so that really means his tires are 3 laps newer, and he's about 3/10 faster, and that was passing cars. He was 3/10 faster than race leader Joshua Banks. This Keith Shoemaker's letting him by like he's the leader. He's not, but the tire difference matters. That's only 3 laps, and he's that much faster than the leaders pulling away.
Pass for position back here with 35th as the 7 of Broderick McLavick will go by on the outside of Keith Shoemaker. And the closest battle on the racetrack, really, it was the lead, and now it's migrated back here. Ben Lafter going to go by Brandon Wallace for 28th. Wallace just kind of moves out of the way. But you can see here from about 23rd on back, a lot of cars still very grouped up.
He got really 5th all the way back to 14th place, or excuse me, 5th to 13th. They're in a line. He got kind of Philip Brewer on his own, and then behind some of the drivers up ahead of Eldon Stewart, there's really spread out, but behind Eldon Stewart, it kind of packs up big time.
Klinger just took a stab at J.R. Shepard. James Lehman, who started on the pole. Back in fifth. Has not been passed. 98 hasn't been able to make an opportunity. Top three back on top of each other.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
48.
Trying.
Yeah, sorry, 48's just right there, but he's trying to generate those runs, run a little bit higher here and there, but he's just not quite able to generate enough of a run to the point where he can make that pass and make a move to the inside to have Joshua Banks concede the position right now.
You're listening to this late Apex, and I want to go on board here with Banks one more time. Show the telemetry, how much speed you have on both ends of this racetrack. In this part, you're down to in the 120s. You're back on the throttle. You get back up into the entry of turn one, and this is all dependent on preference. There's multiple ways to take the entry to this corner, but ultimately you want to come off as flat as you can out of turn two. You do not want this car to step out, but you also don't want to back it up too much and lose a lot of time. So there's that approach, 151 miles per hour off the exit. Not enough that time. And then it's down to 120 again. Heavy braking zones at this racetrack.
It's really frustrating because you really only have that one entry to turn one you can pull off. Remember, you got the Denny Hamlin line in the real world where you can enter turn one, probably a groove higher than they are right now. But it just doesn't quite work on iRacing. Weirdly, you just can't make speed doing that. So you're kind of constrained to entering low, running the wall in the middle of turns 1 and 2, cutting it down on the exit of 2. 3 and 4, we're still not really seeing the high line be utilized that much, but I think push comes to shove, someone's sure going to try it. But the most we're seeing up the track is what the 48's doing right there. He's kind of inching maybe half a groove up in the middle of turns 3 and 4, trying to get that run down the hill, exit of 4, to try to kind of get a run on Joshua Banks, but it's just not enough. And all he's doing right now is sitting in his dirty air, hurting his tires even more. And those tires are hurting. I mean, already 1.8 seconds of fall off of a 35 from what he ran on lap number 2, but that time the 48 got a good run.
Carrying it into the entry at 3 and 4, side by side for the 35 and the 48. They make a little contact. Jeff Wright trying to inch his way past, can't get it done again.
And right there, that was the 35 just saying, you're not passing me. But he really didn't even pinch Jeff Wright that much. The 48 slipped up the racetrack a little bit. He got into the side of a 35, and Banks was able to kind of take that hit and get the run off of the exit of 4 and keep the lead. But right now, the 35 got loose, clipped the apron. But Jeff Wright's definitely better, no doubt about it. He's just getting so much more of a drive off of turn 2 right now. It's like Banks can't cut the car down like he's wore the right front out.
And 5th place all the way back to Kenny Kibbe. You can put Justin Carey in this mix as well. Actually, Justin Ritchie, sorry about that. We're watching a side-by-side. Shepard and Klinger trade positions for 6th spot. I believe James Lehman might be holding him up just a little bit here.
Yeah, this is kind of, we say that, it's kind of a broken record to 0-5, but a little slow on the long run. He's let those leaders get about a second and a half, 2 seconds ahead of him. It's actually 2.6 seconds up to Joshua Banks. And everyone behind him, Klinger, Shepard, Floyd, Kibbe, all these drivers trying to figure out who's going to be the one to make the pass and have the 0-5 start to fade backwards. And we'll see if there's any give and take James Lehman gives to Klinger. It just doesn't seem like he's going to race him to turn 1, and that's going to hold them up even more with him racing them into turn 1. I mean, they're multiple tenths slower without being side by side in the turn 1. I guarantee you, Floyd and Shepard had some contact. Kibbe's going to make it almost 3 wide, as Shepard's not going to enjoy that, but their times are going to be much slower this lap because of that.
A lot of contact there with the 57, the 98, looking to the inside of the 55. Off of turn 4, Dakota Floyd makes contact with the 14. They hold it together. It's not done yet.
No, it's not. Klinger took another look to the inside of Lehman, couldn't make it work. They've gotten back single filed out, but that time by, the top 4 ran 31.9s, and Lehman, Klinger, they were all in the 32.2s, 32.4s. I mean, 3 to 5 tenths off because of how much they're battling and scrapping with one another.
There's the fastest lap times on the screen, and there's the last lap times coming up. Close call.
Klinger got it, but that pack, that line in behind, wasn't able to take advantage. So all those guys are still going to be stuck in that same situation. But you're going to watch Chad Klinger drive away from Lehman here in a little bit.
We watched Bailey Turner reel these guys in. He's on the back door of Nathan Ferrada. So it's the 35, 48, 77, and 24 that have split away from this field of 38 cars. Chad Klinger, 2.7 seconds back from Bailey Turner. And you have Kenny Kimmy, who was trying to pass on James Lehman just a moment ago. We'll watch here off of turn 2 if he can get it done.
Dakota Floyd got by. He's up into 6th. Ooh, Lehman got sideways, hit the wall. 14 kind of got in the back of him because of that stack up, but yeah, unfortunately, this is what happens. Even when some driver kind of wears the tires off that much, that pass is still hard to facilitate. That dirty air, that clean air really matters here at a track that's really barely 1 groove wide, let alone 2 for racing purposes. You see, he just has so much drive. He just has so much more drive to the center of the corner, and then he has so much more drive off to where he gets that run at it too. It's the same thing we saw the 35 and 48 earlier.
He got that run that time a little bit later down the backstretch. So that's going to allow him an opportunity to the inside in 3 or 4. But we've seen this 3 or 4 times here. James Lehman is just trying to hold on. Justin Ritchie dives the inside. 05 keeps it up in the fence. He's going to end up losing 5 spots.
Yeah, and he hit the wall pretty good. I don't think he and Kibbe made contact, but I think he just kind of swerved maybe to avoid Kibbe, and those rear tires are so angry at him, he just has no grip as him and Ray Massey have contact. Just Lehman's really struggling right now.
The domino effect through the field. What is going on up front?
Meanwhile, a little bit of a block banks down the back straightaway on Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright was doing everything to aero pack him and get him up out of the groove, but he's just not budging quite yet.
I saw that telemetry there, and usually my ATVO will flash at me when something's happening for the lead. That time it didn't flash, it blanked out. I don't think it could comprehend that Jeff Wright was passing for the lead that quickly, and then the block happened.
You see, that's why that outside line doesn't work. You just saw an 18 Ferrada try it. He gets a good run through the center as Jeff Wright had a pretty big wiggle there at a turn 4. He gets a good run through the center, but there's just no grip on the exit of 4 at Darlington and iRacing. Ferrada lost about a car length and a half trying to get that line kind of geared up. It just don't get enough grip to make it work.
The 3 Noah Mahalski was up a bunch more than this. At one point, I think Mahalski was flirting with the top 10, has fallen back a little bit here. Chuck Sweeting has gotten around. They've caught up to James Lehman, who had the mistakes, has obviously used up these tires, and the 75 will be the next one in line, coming off of turn 4, has the run, hasn't taken it yet, cuts a break. Oh, Mahalski almost gets into the back of the 75. Oh, and Lehman's loose. Big time.
Yeah, that was Mahalski trying to check up and give Chuck Sweeting the room to enter the corner without booting him, and it put the 0-3 into the wall because of that. As Lehman just no grip whatsoever. And, you know, if you want to make that 2-stop work, which is going to be the strategy here, maybe even a 3-stop if you have enough fall off, as they're almost side by side for the lead, but the 35 still kept it. But the 05, he's just trying to make it to that window to make it the pit lane. He's just struggling right now.
Caution free so far, lead change free so far as we're watching this battle for the 14th spot with James Lehman, Noah Mahalski, and Brian Chambliss now on the other side of this run. Chambliss was very cordial to start this race off.
Sorry, Banks hit the apron on the exit of 4. That gave the 48 a run, but he got sideways trying to swerve under him. So I think once again he's not going to be able to get this spot. This is Darlington though, and one driver, one guy can't pass him. You stack up a number of others, and that's when Chad Klinger and Dakota Floyd joined this fight. They've gained over a second since they got by the 05 a number of laps ago.
09:57 have shaved off probably a second in the last 10 laps. Watching the 35 lead this group. Jeff Wright not able to make the pass. Falls back single file. No Mahalski, Brian Chambliss going back and forth.
I think maybe Chandlis had a strategy to save the tires. If that's the case, it's kind of worked because he's gained 3 or 4 positions since we last saw him kind of bleeding those positions. But once again, it's another gaggle of cars behind the 05.
Touch with the wall for the 03, just in front of Chambliss.
Mahalski's just trying to find that way around Jeff Wright. He got back to the inside of Joshua Banks up at the front of a lead, and you know the 35's not going to give it to him. And once again, they just will not, the 35 will not budge.
Keith Shoemaker taking an early exit to this event. 12 laps down now in the 88. Done for the day behind the wall. Issues there for Keith Shoemaker.
Yeah, usually Wright gets that better run. He gets the better run on the 35 pretty much at both ends of the track. He just can't convert it into a full completed pass. The pass as Mahalski lost some spots to Chambliss, Elliott Butler.
Mahalski lost a lot here. I think he was trying to get around the 05. Ends up getting into the wall.
Yeah, the 9 gets the position. I think they might have kind of had a squeeze out of turn number 4. I think right there, actually, Chambliss almost like he hit the wall down the straightaway, turned off it, and hit the 03. That's why Mahalski lost 2 to 3 positions.
The 54 of Bryce Shoemaker was able to get around on board here with the Interstate Batteries 54.
That's a throwback that I believe ran in the real world. Doing the best he can right now. He's in the 17th position. He started 23rd, so he has climbed through the field a little bit to start this race, right before we get some green flag pit stops, which I would assume should happen probably next 5-10 laps.
Side by side in front of him there. It's Chambliss going by. James Lehman, your pole sitter. And Bryce Shoemaker looking for a window on the outside out of 4.
I don't like this. It's 2x2 at Darlington. It works for pace laps, not under green. There they go. Oh, it's a big crash. It might not be. Oh, it's going to be a yellow. Big hit. Outed Stort's in it too.
I hate having the camera in the right place every time.
That, you know, Mark McFadden was laps down, but that yellow might have came out at a point. I don't know. He might get the lucky dog, but that was just side by side in the turn 1. We talk about it all the time. If that one driver, if neither driver gives way, there's a very good chance you're going to have a crash, a multi-car crash in a turn 1. It's exactly what happened right there. 0-5 slow, 9's faster, 9 tries to make the move, and neither of them give an inch, and you know, 9 comes up the track, but, you know, on worn tires at Darlington, you need that room to slide up, and he just doesn't have it. It's going to be a crash every time, and poor Eldon Stewart had nowhere to go, just slammed into Elliott Butler.
The 13 of Caleb Weekly made it through this okay, but the 1 of Stewart tried to go low.
There's nowhere to go here either. The Darlington?
Yeah. He's trying to use the old pit road there.
Believe it was. It's funny. I think the 5 just came out of pit road right before the yellow came out, which means he gets the lucky dog over AJ Stravado. So Stravado is unfortunately going to be stuck 2 laps down because he will take the wave around, but he could have gotten the lucky dog.
The driver that's led the most laps here today, in fact, he's led all of them. Joshua Banks leads him into pit road. 48 of the 49 completed, and he'll get service to this Supra. Jeff Wright down and away, battle off of pit road.
I think Banks got it. Oh, that's Jeff Wright was hoping he could get it the easy way because he just could not pass Joshua Banks on the racetrack, but Banks just barely got him. Ferrata must have missed his stall, lost a ton of spots. He might have sped because he never exited his stall.
More coverage will continue in the Saturday Night Racing League in just a moment's time. You're watching race number 5, presented by M&J Distributors. More coverage will continue right after this.
got through it all and scores first career win in the Saturday Night Racing League Cup Series. What a finish!
Too little, too late from behind, and Sebastian Marin, your first repeat top split winner of the qualifying series.
We knew it was just a matter of time when Hunter Sr. is victorious.
Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa.
Juicy Spider Motorsports takes home the 1-2-3 finish.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time, so I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Back here live, riding on board with Jeff Wright. Green flag flies back on lap 53. 48 car all over the back bumper of Joshua Banks. We've seen this time and time again, but Banks has led every single lap so far. Even that pass trying off of pit road. That caution coming out there with the 9 of Brian Chambliss and a few others. The 05 of James Lehman involved. The 54 of Bryce Shoemaker. Shoemaker on pit road with an expired engine.
Both the Shoemakers out. Elliott Butler, big damage. Christopher Hodges got big damage out of that. And you got a number of drivers running a lap down. Stephen Davis, not one of them. He's running up in the top 16, right behind Gale Weekly, who's in that 15th spot. Started 21st, made it up to the top 15, so not a bad run for the 13 so far. And
so what happened here? There. I missed something. No, Mahalski's a lap down. What happened to the 03?
I think they're repairing damage, and they just didn't beat the pace car out. Pretty simple. You know, when you're repairing damage, sometimes you get out of a car, see what happened on the crash you're involved in, stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes if you're not watching a pace car, you might just get passed by it, and that's what happened. So now Mahalski's a lap down. It's really not what AJ Travato wanted to see, because now there's multiple cars laps down in front of him. He still sits 2 down. He had to take the wave around, so he's going to have to pit in probably 10 laps or so.
And they go to Floyd, who's up 6 positions, up to 4th now. 57 car was starting to show some speed there at the tail end of the run. He was with Chad Klinger. They were catching up to this top 5.
Whoa, Ben Lafter had contact with Nathan Farad, and Ben Lafter had some contact back for like the 18th position. Farada, I believe, sped on pit road. He's having to come through the field and just give the 64 a tap. And 64 is in the wall.
Yeah, Matt Shinosky, I think, ran with the track a little bit here. We'll back this up a little bit further. You can see the contact with the 77. We'll watch it all the way through, and you can see what happened there.
Probably the worst track to have a speeding penalty besides maybe Martinsville or Bristol. It's still just so hard to make that track position up, and Farada trying to make up time, gets to the left rear of the 64. Right there's a little bit of contact. Lapter did a really good job not knocking the wall down. He might have hit it, but he could have really knocked the wall down, kind of kept it out of the wall. And right here, Shinovsky just drives in deep, gets aero tight, just washes up the track, and I think Lapter's trying to give him room so they don't wreck. He ends up walling himself just to avoid the crash. But yeah, 31 kind of just drove him out of room.
This is on board here with Ben Lapter in the number 64. Look on the driver camera. Ben Lapter, of course, in the Challenger Series, had a lot of good finishes. Would like to see some of that carry over. And of course, you know, he's been in the top 10. He's raced up here in the Cup Series before. We've said his name many, many times here on VSPEED. But I would like to see, you know, that progression, because I know the 64 has really come on, especially at these intermediate ovals.
Not for lack of trying, that's for sure. He's certainly trying. Just hasn't been the start of a season that he's necessarily wanted. He did start at the back, and he's climbed up 15 positions from the start of this race. So maybe if he put a qualifying time down, he could be even further up through the field at this point. But obviously, just struggling a little bit to get that extra step, compete for top 10s consistently, stuff like that. Just struggling to get that next step. But you know, gotta start somewhere.
And through your top 10 with Joshua Banks leading every single lap. Jeff Wright keeping him honest, though, remaining within that half a second ever since the beginning of this race. That's your top 2. Bailey Turner running in third, up 2 positions for where he began this race. And the 24 car has been pretty outstanding all season and every season.
Almost every season. If we talk to him, if he gets another P3, he probably still won't be happy with his performance. He'd rather be battling there for the lead, trying to pass the 35 himself. He just doesn't have that higher gear that it seems Jeff Wright has in this car, in the Gen 4 car. You know, he's good, but he's not like he was in the next gen kind of. You know, he did get fortune to a lot of wins, but he still was maybe the fastest driver in that next gen car, and just doesn't have that in this car. Dakota Floyd, I think he likes the car change. He's ran up at the front really in every car we've ran, but the O'Reilly car suiting him so far. He's ran the top 5 really all night.
Kenny Kibbe in the 5th position and moving up to 3rd in points. Kibbe, one of those drivers that statistically likes to gain positions, whether it's on purpose or not, I'm not sure, but definitely likes to pass cars. I would be interested in that statistic. How many cars has Kenny Kibbe passed in the course of 6 seasons, 5 seasons officially, and into this one? I bet it's somewhere close to 1,000 at least.
I wish we had the closing pass stats on the results. Otherwise, I'd be able to give you a better an actual number. I can't really give you an actual number, but let's just say a lot. It might be triple digits at this point. Race 5 of the season. He's already passed at least 7 cars tonight after starting in the 12th position, but it's really his best start of the season. It's the least work he's had to do at all this season, so it's a step in the right direction for him. We know he has the speed to get victories here and there, compete for a championship, and this is probably the most consistent race as a whole, including practice and qualifying, that he's had so far. Chad Klinger, same thing. He just hasn't really been finishing. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Jeff Wright got to the inside of Banks.
Is this the official pass for the lead into 3 and 4? We've seen this several times in the first 40 laps.
35 got just enough of a run off 4. He's going to be able to keep it. But Jeff Wright, that exit of 2, he's just so much better at getting the nose pointed well and just having that run. Looks like we had a crash. Brian Champ, excuse me, no crash. I thought I saw smoke, but I guess not. There's got to be smoke and fire here with this battle.
Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't seen it yet, but we're about to.
Ooh, he
Jeff
got
Wright
close
is
to the
getting
bumper.
Such a run off of 2 there.
He's trying his best to aero pack, but it's the same thing we saw last week where it just hurts you more than driver ahead. You just don't get them loose enough. It just gets you more tight, and Wright hit the wall because of that.
Carrying on where we left off, Angelo Horonis in the 29 running in the 7th position, started in 9th, a top 10 drive so far for the 29 team. Coronis has been a little off pace, and so this race, I know Coronis can definitely finish top 10. I've raced with him here at Darlington in other series. I know the 29 is definitely fast here.
Driver's track plays into his favor, I would think. I think when you think of driver's tracks, this is usually where Angelo Coronis would shine. He just so much talent in this series, which is, I think, the main reason why he hasn't been able to get to the lane. It's just too talented of a series, even with the driver fast as him. But definitely one of the better runs he's had all season so far. Still trying to get through the field. He's pretty much sat top 10 all race. I think he would take that, as like Brian Chambliss took his car behind the wall. He had a lot of damage anyways. But good run for Shepard. He kind of fell back since the start, but if he could just have a cool top 10 day, he would take it, as they're going to go side by side at the same time. We're talking about both of them, and Coronis, I think, tried to let him by. It was a little awkward, but got the job done.
And here's another driver that was in our statistics. It's Ray Massey in the number 23. And I was told, maybe we don't bring up Ray Massey. He's had a lot of bad luck here to start season number 6. And it's kind of carried over from the end of season 5 as you watch him here battling for 9th position with Philip Brewer. But Ray Massey, the 23 car, has victories under the belt. He has definitely proven himself here in Saturday Night Racing League. When's the next victory coming? I think Massey needs to get up there and hunt in that top 3 if he wants a chance again.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, as this league has kind of grown, the competition's gotten higher as AJ Travado finally comes down the pit because he took the wave around. But it's been a while. It's been November of 2024 when Ray Massey went to Bristol and won, which kind of felt like the 24 hours of Bristol that race because we had the reset in that race. So you weren't even there. But it's been a while. It's been tough. He cannot finish worse than he did last week. We had less cars this week, and he finished 42nd last week after that crash with Caleb Weekly. So only up from last week and having a solid top 10 run. I think it starts with top 10s if he wants to get back to victory lane. He needs to run consistently in the top 10, maybe compete for some fringe top 5s. He's got to start there. But like we said, it's been a while since that last victory at Bristol. And also further back to that win at Chicagoland he had. He went 3rd to 1st in the final lap. That was probably the most thrilling finish in this series history, but it's definitely been a struggle since then.
Hidden Jim here with 3 Darlington starts. His finishes of 2nd, 8th, and 13th. It's averaging out to a 7.7. It's nearly matching Joshua Banks, but only 39th in season 6 standings, so Ray Massey has a long way to go. Philip Brewer kind of making his breakout season here. We've been watching the 44 drive in the top 10 a lot this season so far, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from that Challenger Series championship carrying over to the Cup Series. 44 car has been bad fast, and I think he's one of those drivers that could contend for a win here this season 6.
And he has ran a lot in the top 10, top 15, but as far as top 10s, the results unfortunately don't show that. He has no top 10s to start the season, but he sits 14th in points. He's 2nd highest in points of anyone who doesn't have a top 10, only beat by Caleb Weekly by 2 points, or Case Lakatis, by 2 points. So it's been a solid start to the season, but just the finishes have not been what he probably has deserved. Another driver who I would think would take another nice, easy top 10 and, kind of a quiet day, I think, is what anyone wants at Darlington, especially these drivers we've mentioned.
Labeled as the dark horse here. 14th in season 6 standings, as you mentioned. But he's got a poor history here at Darlington. P35 and P24 in 2 starts with early exits, so hopefully this is the one that changes it. Sideways there for a car. I think that was... No, it was not. I thought it was, but a car all the way down the racetrack. That is Mark McFadden in the 5. And the battle for the lead starting to accordion back together with some other cars. You've got Bailey Turner, Dakota Floyd catching back up to this top 2.
Kenny Kibbe a little bit faster than the leader as well. Banks, no, we're kind of confident Banks isn't the fastest on the racetrack. It's just a matter of someone getting the clean air, getting by him, and no one's been able to do it. He's led up past halfway now. So it's something, it's really up to Jeff Wright to be the one that kind of roots him out of the way, and we've seen both these drivers root each other out of the way every now and then.
A lot of names out here on the racetrack, and a guy that's been very quiet tonight is on board with Justin Carey in the number 21. I mean, I don't know what's going on here, because I've watched Justin Carey in the previous seasons and in this car, and I said his name at least 12, 13 times a race, racing for the top 10, 23rd right now. I'm not sure what's happened.
I think only his third start on the season, I believe. If he didn't get pole, he was darn close to pole at Daytona. When we saw him there, he did get pole at Daytona, 17th for him, 28th at Auto Club. And so his first race since week 2, so he took 2 weeks off. And you know, this car has gotten an update since he last ran it in this league. Could be a part of it for sure.
And just in general, the statistics here with Justin Carey, racing near the top 10 a lot. I think maybe back to the drawing board, there's some things. Said he's missed some starts. I think when you take time off like that in this league, so competitive, a week off, you come back and you better be on point. You better put your time in.
Yoshivato tried to get back lead lap. It just wasn't working out his way. He decided to call it a race. So it's about 4 to 6 cars in the garage now. 32 still running. Stravato, Chandless, Stewart, Butler, and both the Shoemakers, Bryce and Keith, off track.
Well, we're past that halfway mark, and it's a perfect opportunity. Let's turn up the hearing aids, find the remote control, and get loud. Presented by FireStorm Racing. Get Loud presented by FireStorm Racing, and we're about to have a 3-way battle for the lead. Watching Banks hold off Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright falling back a little bit. Dakota Floyd was able to get around Bailey Turner and the 57. I don't know what the VSPEED odds were on this one, but I'm telling you what, 57 is impressing me more with every lap that goes by.
Plus 1900 to be exact, but I don't know, all of a sudden he just started going. He's been, before he got to the back bumper, the 48, he was 2/3 faster a lap, and he closed up on him in a hurry. Once again, that dirty air bubble, it's fierce, and we've seen it the past 2 weeks to where he got the Jeff Wright pretty quick. He just can't find a way around to make the pass. 48 tapped the wall, maybe that'll help him a little bit, but just so hard to get that clean air. I think if we do get a green flag pit stop at some point, undercut's going to be the one that I think wins it or brings out a yellow, one or the other. But that undercut looks mighty fine right now. But saying that, 35 lost the race last week because of an undercut. He hit early and the 48 blew by him. So
by 2 laps.
It's hard to tell because the clean air, you think it really matters, but 2 laps of tires also matters. It's kind of a It's not really a game of juggling because juggling's not a game, but you're kind of juggling which strategy's better, which one you want to do. You also don't want to get caught, get put a lap down by a yellow. That's a big issue here.
Catch 22 is the word I was going for there. 57, though, looking really fast in these closing laps. Always looking at the approach on the long run speed. And he's caught up to these leaders. Again, the dirty air bubble that gaps him out a little bit. Banks pulls away from the 48 by about 3/10. Lloyd going to have to look away around, and we also have Kenny Kibbe looking to maybe pass the 24 before these green flag stops.
I think, 35, maybe he's done a better job with his tires as the 48, but, we saw Bailey Turner catch up to those two at the end of the previous run on tires, and just hasn't been the case this time. Has not been able to really stay with those two, not able to stay with Dakota Floyd, and kind of paying the price maybe of driving those tires off early in the run. He did hit the wall on the second lap after the restart. Maybe it's playing a factor. It doesn't look damaged, but obviously no speed in that 24 right now.
And anybody out there watching right now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race. We bring you flag-to-flag coverage. Philip Brewer just made a pass on Angelo Horonis. Horonis might have got into the wall.
Yeah, I think he got in the wall middle 1 and 2, and then he kind of, if you hit it in the middle of 1 and 2, it's really hard to get off it before you hit the wall again on exit 2. I think that's what happened. Car doesn't look horrible, but lost a lot of time. Also, one thing that might come into play is, I was just about to say lap traffic could play a factor, because Christopher Hodges took a while to get out of the way, but he did get out of the way. But if they catch more lap traffic, if this goes green, it could play a factor, but not much for a while at this point.
Hodges 2 laps down now, back in 31st position. 15 not having a good day to start this one off. Chad Klinger goes by.
Sorry, Banks keeps hitting that apron out of turn 4. He tries to hook the bottom best he can, and that's the second time I've seen him hit the apron and lost a lot of time. And Jeff Wright, both times, just can't take advantage.
Just no lane of opportunity. You can get the nose in there, but try completing the pass. It's the exits of this track. Dakota Floyd suffering from the same thing. And you're watching the 24 of Turner, the 14 of Kibbe, the 09 of Klinger reel the lead in.
I think it's going to take a while before we get more lap traffic. I mean, Broderick Lavic's out of turn 2, so a long ways to go. But there's no doubt this 35 just does not have the pace on the long run to pull away from the 48 or the 57 or really anyone at all on the long haul for sure. And once again, 48 can just stay with him, but just can't make that move.
So where do you see this window of opportunity for pit road, Connor?
I'm trying to think. I mean, it seemed like drivers were going to wait until like lap 50, 55 the previous time. We got to lap 48, no one had pit, and then the yellow came out, and we're really 40 laps into this run on tires for the most part. I would think the next 10, 15 laps would be the window opener for most of these drivers. I think pitting early will be too early. I think later than that will be too late. But I would think the next 10 to 15. And for Jeff Wright, it might have to be an undercut because he just has not been able to pass the 35 otherwise. It's not like last week where Joshua Banks, he undercut from the lead. He could pass Jeff Wright on even tires. It's not the same this week. The pass hasn't been made yet. He's led every lap. So 48, I think if he can't pass him on track, he's going to have to pit before the 35. He just lost a lot of time in 1 and 2 trying something.
Well, I accidentally clicked on the camera that I love. So I think we'll go back to that.
That was the choose cone.
Yeah, it was. It was beautiful. I'm going to hit that one more time. Why not?
Reserved for slim chickens.
Beautiful. Kudos to Dougie Beard.
If only. Fox used to have a character similar, but it wasn't on the track. Oh, as there's contact, Justin Ritchie, Ray Massey for 10th. They were side by side. I think Ritchie got up into the 23.
23 had a weird exit here to turn 4. 55 got a good run, takes it to the inside. Hesitant there on the entry. There's the contact.
Telling you, he just cannot do side by side. And Massey, that was a situation where Massey gave him probably too much room. He was in the wall trying to give him room, and Ritchie still came up and into the side of him. Didn't hurt either car, but if neither driver is going to give way, you just can't get through there with speed. and if you try to get through their speed, you're gonna wreck. I mean, I say it every season we come here.
They just need to watch the broadcast, Connor, then they would understand. Then they would know.
How many wrecks over the seasons have we had in turn 1 at Darlington? I feel like it's a lot. Turn 1 and 2. I mean, you cannot go side by side through those parts of the track at speed. As James Lehman's going to pit, that is an early pit entry. He about knocked the barrels down, but he was 17th. This is a little early, but we've seen that he just doesn't have the long run pace, so I understand it.
An entry on board with the 05 of Lehman. And
oh goodness, oh man, that's as close as you can cut it.
He was fine.
I wasn't. Oh my goodness gracious, he came as close to both walls as he could.
This race going green so far. One caution, no lead changes. It's been Joshua Banks up front, defending this lead and holding on to these tires, holding on to the position. Track temperature has not changed much, but it is now down to 94.
Last time we saw it, it was actually 91, so even though it's getting later in the day, I think all these cars going around, also the sun came back out a little bit. I think that plays a little factor, but they go back up a little bit. Had a change for 5th. Chad Klinger passed Kenny Kibbe into turn 3 last time by. But these top 3 still class of the field this run.
1.4 seconds back to Bailey Turner in the 4th position. Chad Klinger 3/10 behind that in the 09. J.R. Shepard just had Kenny Kibbe go by, and that's pit road for the 14, the 5 of McFadden.
Caleb Weekly.
A lot of pit stops starting out.
This is pretty much on brand, maybe a little earlier than that 10 to 15 range we were talking about, but still, I would say on schedule of kind of cutting this run in 2 somewhat even halves, as even as it could be. Max Cost came down to pit as well, and more drivers at the front pit like Kenny Kibbe, more decisions drivers are going to have to make. I mean, tires are worth about 2 seconds a lap, so Kibbe could really have the lead just with this 1 lap of overlap, and he's going to have at least 2 over the leaders. Lap for pit.
Really keeping an eye on this top 3. Who's going to blink first? Because I know Hanks doesn't want to make the same mistake he made last week and undercut Jeff Wright. Because if Floyd wants to play the strategy, whatever is in his favor, you don't want to all 3 come down at the same time, Connor.
No, unfortunately, I think the 35 is damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. I think if he pits early, 48, maybe the 57 go longer and get the tire advantage. I think if the 35 goes long, that undercut's going to lose him the race because he just hasn't had the long run pace. So there's not much he can really do here. It looked like Tim Shanowski tried to pit. He missed pit entries on the apron up ahead. He's going to stay on the apron, I think, let the leaders by.
It's Matt Shanowski that is in pit road right now.
Johnson, who exited his stall. Once again, good run for Floyd. Justin Gary's coming down the pit. And if they all pit on the same lap, you're going to see pit entry really change the game and probably change the race. If they somehow all pit on the same lap, A, they kind of mess up the strategy, and B, whoever gets the better pit entry is going to win the race. And Max Cost might kind of infiltrate this battle with his fresh tires as Floyd had a big wiggle off of turn 4.
You can't really blame Maxie. I mean, he's got to go back out there on the racetrack. Yeah, he's got fresh tires. Got to get one of those laps back.
Austin Belke coming down the pit. That's the one thing that's really going to change strategy for others. It looks like Chad Klinger is going to go for 4th on Bailey Turner in the background, but drivers on new tires kind of passing through these guys. Yeah, it looks like Matt Shanowski had a penalty on pit exit of some sort, but there's drivers on new tires kind of driving by the leaders. That could kind of facilitate a pass for the lead and kind of change the battle for the win as well. As really fast on entry for Ferrata there.
I think he made it though. Just barely made it.
35. This is probably biggest his lead's been in all race. And it's 3/10.
Yeah, it's not much. I mean, one mistake.
And he hasn't been perfect in the sense that he's not the fastest tonight, but just good enough. It has done quite well right now. But Devin looks like 48's lost some ground. I think he's starting to fade.
Under 40 laps to go. This is where the strategy is going to come in.
Let's go to Floyd. First one to blink. That was a pretty strong entrance.
And Floyd got his first win over on Wednesday night. It took a long time, a lot of tries, but the 57 finally got it done, and I know that helped build the confidence. Can we see Floyd get it the first time here at SNR Cup Series?
Here comes Jeff Wright. He's immediately going to come to pit. Chad Klinger's going to pit. So 57, I think, is going to be the big winner in this. He was the first one to blink at those top three, and he had a really good entrance. Chad Klinger and Jeff Wright immediately responded, but I like the 57's play. I don't like how it's going to look for Banks.
And sometimes that happens to you. You get so focused on what happened last week, then it's the opposite for the next one. I think he comes down this time. Yep.
Not much he could do. Bailey Turner, I wouldn't be surprised if he stretches this long and tries to catch that yellow.
And there's so much going on. Watch this camera. He's looking at everything right now. Trying to see fuel, calculations, tires. You know, there's no adjustments here really, but he's looking at, did I check this box? How much do I want to push this car? What are the percentages? How was I driving the car?
Unfortunately, the undercut did not work for the 57. Well, it might. They're going to be, Bailey Turner, I think he's going to miss it. Didn't even come close to making pit entry there, but I was noting Jeff Wright, he got out ahead of Dakota Floyd. Even with the one lap extra, 48 stayed ahead of the 57.
48 had a lightning pit road entry, but last time.
There goes Banks on the bottom. He's going to lose the time. But really good pit entry from Jeff Wright. Even with an extra lap on the track, he was able to lose basically no time to the 57. 24 made it the pit lane this time. Someone, 98
big check up here, 3 wide. Right in front of the leaders.
Oh, he's not lifting. Look at that. He threaded the needle. And Dakota Floyd got held up behind all that. Oh, he's in the wall, crashed. Caution is out, and the race is flipped. And you can see Banks is upset. And that was actually the race leader, Ray Massey, who got turned. And this has flipped the entire race now. He had J.R. Shepard and Bailey Turner who were on pit road. Shepard rode through. Turner took his tires. This is going to be flip the entire race.
I think Turner stays on the lead lap here.
I think Jeff Wright, he just got his lap back because that was Ray Massey. 57, I mean, he's totaled regardless, but actually he's damaged. He doesn't look too damaged, but he's probably still a lap down. But Jeff Wright threads the needle. Dakota Floyd tries to do the same thing, and you just can't do 3 wide on the top into turn 1 at Darlington. And I think that was a desperation move. I think he sees the 48 threading the needle, getting away. He tried to make a move that really wasn't there. As J.R. Shepard pits from the lead because he rolled through, I believe. You can see what he's going for, but there's no room. Tim Shinosky just got clipped. Banks did a good job avoiding it, but I suppose he got trapped a lap down, but Ray Massey was the leader, so I don't know how any of that's going to work.
Watch Jeff right here. This takes guts on the front stretch.
I mean, had it gone green, it was the move for the win, for sure. I mean, getting by all those drivers, getting to be inside of Lavick. Still really not sure who the leader is through all this.
Jeff Wright will leave.
I I don't know. That jumbled everything up. 48 did not pit. I know that. Dakota Floyd, Bailey Turner, they're, I guess, going to have to take the wave around. I guess Jeff Wright's going to cycle to be the leader because he stayed out. His tires will not be as fresh as the drivers who came off of pit lane. This is, I think, going to work for J.R. Shepard because he rolled through pit lane. Bailey Turner took his pit stop. So Turner, I think, is going to have to take the wave around, while J.R. Shepard, who rolled through smartly, was able to stay lead lap, and maybe he'll be second. This has jumbled everything up.
Now remember, we have five tire sets over the wall here, and we've only used 2 of them.
Definitely will come into play in a 35, 34 lap run to the end. This is the one to go, so we'll see who takes the wave around here. So obviously Floyd, Turner. I think everyone in front of Jeff Wright, which that line goes back to, I think, Justin Carey. Chad Clinton must have sped. He got trapped a lap down. Yeah, looks like Jeff Wright's going to be the leader. Looks like Kenny Kibbe is going to line up second. I mean, this is probably going to need to be a delayed green.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars there. Brandon Wallace playing the long game is going to line up in third spot.
Yeah, they extended it. Yeah, Brandon Wallace had not yet pit, so he should be up there. Actually, no, he had not pit yet.
We have an opportunity to find Brandon Wallace, so I think we pull him in here.
I don't know. We need to sort all this out first. So it looks like he's going to be third. Rob Hamp's going to be fourth. Lehman's fifth.
Brandon Wallace, Bradley Cooper, and Connor Horn. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4. What's happening, guys?
I don't know. You tell me. You're in third.
Yeah, I don't know how the heck that happened, but that's just staying on old tires, I guess, and going to try to survive here.
Well, you get up there in the top 5 and started back in 28th. This could be a top 10 day for you, closing laps.
Yeah, I just got to keep it off the wall. I've been kind of killing the tires, so we still got a long ways to go here, and it may get a little messy somewhere with all these tire differences. So we're going to hang on and see what happens.
Well, good luck there, Brandon, and hopefully we get to talk to you post-race.
All right, thank you, Bradley.
And it's motorsports driver Brandon Wallace. So we get ready for this restart. I mean,
let's just go through his top 10. Jeff Wright got the lead. Kibbe's second. I don't know how that happened. Rob Hamp is fourth, with Brandon Wallace third. Lehman's fifth. Michael Jones is sixth. Then Weekly. Then it's Ray Massey with big damage because he was the caution, but he was the leader. And then everyone's a lap down until Dakota Floyd, who took the wave rounds in ninth.
Strategy. Lots and lots of strategy. Look how long the wave around line is. As we go back green, Jeff Wright took the lead and got back on the lead lap at just the right time. 32 laps to go from Darlington.
Wallace slid a little bit. It's going to lose some track position.
Got Michael Jones to the inside for the top 5. 22 down to the bottom. There's Caleb Weekly in 7th.
He really benefited from this. Ray Massey, he didn't really get lucky because he's damaged, but he's somehow still top 10 through all this with a fresh set of tires.
If I'm Caleb Weekly right now, I'm looking to get around these cars as fast as possible. Brandon Wallace sideways saves it.
He saved it. Going to lose all that track position, though. J.R. Shepard got by all those guys. He's got some of the freshest tires, but he's actually now trapped a lap down. So it didn't work for him. I thought he was lead lap. He's not lead lap. He's trying to be first car one lap down.
In case of Lacatus is the car behind him, trying to take away that free pass. 24, 57, cars in the wall. This is a storm coming off of turn 2.
Wow. And those guys are lead lap 57 and 24.
We got a long way to go as we got a change for the lead.
Kibbe. Yeah, Kenny Kibbe got the lead. I really wasn't expecting it. Jeff Wright kind of gave the bottom to Kibbe because Kibbe got to the inside in turn 1. Then he hit the wall. So Kenny Kibbe to the front. big moment in the race. I mean, Kibbe just had to run out of 4 the lap after this.
There's Brandon Wallace getting loose in the background.
Just too much happening. The point where we missed the pass for the lead. Kibbe Jeff Wright kind of just opened up the bottom. I don't know why, but Kibbe was able to get to the left rear and kind of pull him back into turn number 1. And Jeff Wright sees that, gives him a lot of room into turn 1, tries to get that run around the outside. And right there, he clips the wall, gets stuck to it. And that's all Kibbe needed to get the pass done. It's a huge moment. Ooh, 86 is in the wall at a 2. He kept it straight.
Johnson, oh, the 35 threads a needle.
He's trying to get back up through there quickly as possible. I can't believe James Lehman's in 3rd. That's another one. Rob Hamp, we didn't talk about him enough. Rob Hamp in the 4th through all this.
With around 20 laps to go, if this runs out green, Kenny Kibbe could be the surprise victory here.
Christopher Hodges brings to the pit lane, a lot of damage. It's still a long way to go on tires, though. They're going to wear out. You're going to see that 48 probably surge a little bit at the end at some point, but Kibbe's pace looks good right now. And James Lehman, we know his short run pace is his strength, and he's making it work right now all over the back bumper of Jeff Wright. And probably not what Jeff Wright wants to see is someone right on his bumper getting him arrow loose and kind of messing him up.
'05 has proven the short run pace. Can he get around the 48 of Jeff Wright as Kenny Kibbe continues to pull away? It's a half-second lead here for lap 123, and the 14 leading his first laps of the evening. Started in 12th, ran in the top 10, but the strategy has paid off. Got around the 48 for a handful of lead changes here today. Track temperature has come down to 87 degrees, and that might be another factor as we've seen our 5th lead change in these closing laps.
And we saw 0 in the first, 105 laps? Something like that. Just like that. It's completely flipped. Lehman, he got to be inside of Jeff Wright. This is not what the 48 wants to see. If he loses this position, it's going to be really tough to go up there and catch Kibbe, because we know Kibbe's giving it his all, and he's just going to give it to the 05. And it's possible that these guys probably have fresher tires. I mean, Jeff Wright, remember, he stayed out, and it might only be 2-3 laps, but it makes a difference here.
Yeah, it's 11 on the stint here for Kibbe and James Lehman. Jeff Wright had 16 on the stint, so under green, probably 2 or 3 laps, like you mentioned.
Yeah, so, 05 also stayed out, but just, same tires as Jeff Wright. He just does not have the pace right now.
Rob Hampton to be the next one in line. He is on the same stint as your top 2. 18 car, gaining last time by about 0.02 of a second. 0.2 of a second. Billy Turner to go to Floyd. 5th and 6th position. Floyd with a little bit of damage. I think he can salvage the day. Caleb Weekly, man, how many times? We got to talk about the 13 getting the top 10. He has been phenomenal in these first 5 weeks.
And Joshua Banks, he got the lucky dog through all that. He's back up to 10th after having to start behind a bunch of cars. I mean, order completely flipped to go to Floyd. Somehow I don't think that car was hurt. I thought he'd have more damage, but it really isn't that bad. And obviously him and the 24 were the guys who had to take the wave around, and they've recovered 5th and 6th. At the very least salvaging maybe something out of the day.
Chuck Sweeting back up to 8th position where he started the day. We're riding on board with Michael Jones, up 16 spots. Clark Prinshop, biggest mover so far in these closing laps. I think we might just go ahead and throw it up there.
We'll see. It's so long going to go 20 laps. So we kind of saw this at Auto Club. He was unfortunately the cause of the yellow that stopped the long run at Auto Club, but he did get a pretty decent finish out of it that day as well. It's similar to that race, except he didn't cause it this time. It had nothing to do with him, but the strategy just kind of fell into his lap to be in the top 10 at this point. But Joshua Banks is going to do everything and absolutely everything to try to get by him here. Probably driving angry, knowing Banks.
I don't know about that. But another beautiful camera angle presented by Dougie Beard. And possibly a pass for position. Caleb Weekly was peeking there off of turn 2.
35 definitely got to the inside of a 22. Jones probably scraping the wall a little bit. No change with Weekly and Floyd, but Banks cleanly gets the 9th position.
I don't know how he comes up with that stuff. I just watched a camera angle I've never seen before.
Gotta think outside the box. Someone had a slide. Who was that? That was Case Lakatis. He kept it straight, though. He's 21st. He's trying to dig for everything he can, trying to get in the lucky dog spot, trying to catch J.R. Shepard. But can't quite do it. Justin Ritchie, Chad Klinger, they're side by side, but that's not for position. The 09 must have sped at some point to be trapped a lap down the way he was. 29's at the wall, but I'm not sure what happened to 09, but no one's catching Kibbe right now. James Lehman just sitting a second behind.
1 full second there to the 05. Jeff Wright, another half second behind that. Rob Hamp, Bailey Turner, Dakota Floyd. We have Caleb Weekly, Chuck Sweeting. Sweeting losing some spots here in the closing laps. 22 of Michael Jones almost gets into the back of him.
Banks is absolutely hustling that car, trying to get back to the front, but it's obviously going to take a yellow and maybe strategy to try to steal the win back away. But he's trying to get everything he can out of this race.
Brandon Wallace, who got really loose there off of turn 2, was able to save the car, but falls back to 16. Max Cost behind that, and then a cluster of cars with Justin Ritchie, Parada, Peronis. 23, Ray Massey. 75 hit the wall.
He's able to stay ahead of Michael Jones. Didn't really hurt him too much. Michael Jones trying to run that outside line and then kind of cut it down low. He got a lot more rotation on throttle through center exit, but just not enough to get to the 75. And you got that gaggle with Ferrata, and all had 5 lead lap cars in there with Chad Klinger mixed in a lap down. Definitely faster.
Definitely faster here. Gonna look to the inside in 3. The 09, unfortunately, a lap down. We'll complete this pass on lap 134. Kenny Kibbe coming down the backstretch. Justin Ritchie, contact with the 77 of Ferrata. They're still going at it.
Almost. They almost had an incident again, trying side by side through turn 1. They somehow kind of made it, I guess, but they lost a lot of time. Angelo Horonis is back in this pack. Remember, he's ran better than this most of the race. He's now back to 14th. Brandon Wallace is 16th, but I think he'll take that. This is still, I think, a pretty big improvement over where he was running. Before pit stop started, he was back 26th position, so I think he's still okay with this.
And just trying to keep up here in these closing laps. Kenny Kibbe running away with this one. Approaching 10 to go. The 14 wants this to stay green all the way to the end. Rob Hamp's on the back porch of Jeff Wright for the top 3.
That just proves how much tires matter. With all due respect to Rob Hamp, he just has not been near the front all race, and he gets some track position. I would assume he has. I think he does have some fresher tires in the 48, and he got a little tight out of 2, lost all that ground. But the past few laps, he had been faster than that 48.
And it's 3 seconds back to Bailey Turner in 5th spot, just now entering 3 and 4. You have Casey Lakatis in the 50 machine, a lap down. First car, a lap down. I take that back. It's J.R. Shepard in the 98. So he's actually on the other side of the corner ahead of this. And he could get his lap back the old-fashioned way. I think if you're Casey Lakatis, you would love for that to happen. But you still need a caution to get back up there. Kenny Kibbe way ahead of this field. And we're 10 to go. I mean, Kenny Kibbe might get this first win of season 6 right here.
Still way too long to go to declare that, but I think if on the off chance it does go green, it just doesn't seem like Lehman has the time to get up there for sure. Just, you know, he was the second back, kind of rubber banding with him. He started to lose time the last couple of laps for that 0-5. But there's another driver, James Lehman, who would absolutely take this outcome, getting a good finish out of a day that got pole, but he did not run well. And starting to fade back. He might have to fend off Jeff Wright one more time, but this is something Lehman definitely needed.
LeBrewer, Chad Klinger.
He pit. I don't know, he might be parking it possibly. Looks like it.
We'll find out. 09, a couple laps down, but
I think he just decided to park it.
If maybe he had contact, but he will bring it down pit road.
Just kind of not driving for points really. Figured he's more of the race admin before driver at this point. He just decided to pull it off. I'm done. Going home.
Seven and a half laps to go. Top three with Kibbe, Lehman, Wright. Jeff Wright got the lead away from the 35 through pit cycle. 35 gets pinned a lap down. Jeff Wright was able to take the lead. 57 of Dakota Floyd was the only driver that kept pace on the strategy of pit lane. Man, so many things have happened in these last 30 laps or so that just changes the course of the outcome. And even if we do get a late race caution, I think everybody's going to come down pit road and get 4 fresh tires. Even Kenny Kibbe, he's going to come down here.
You might see a Joshua Banks try to salvage the victory, because obviously he dominated pretty much the entire race until the first caution, and the only round of green flag stops. Ray Massey just got a boot from an Nathan Ferrata. He saved it, but him and Ferrata getting physical for 11th, and Massey, he still got all that damage, trying to fend off to get a decent finish. Through turns 3 and 4. Jeff Wright's going to regret not pitting for that extra set of tires like everyone else did. Yeah, right there, 77 booted him, let him get straightened out. It's just what happens here. It gets pretty stacked up. Battle for second might get dicey by the end of the race, because Lehman's definitely starting to fade.
Jeff Wright is there. Hamp about 3/10 behind that, so you might see a battle for third with Hamp in just a moment. 05 hits the wall.
Chuck Suin just got by Michael Jones for 9th. Parada back to the inside of Massey for 11th. He just made a little bit more contact.
You got to give me your 3 best right now. That's what it's going to take.
3 qualifying laps, basically. We've seen some last lap crashing at Darlington before.
Now stop looking at that mirror.
Kenny Kibbe just hoping nothing happens. It's simple as that.
He's hoping for the white flag at the very least.
That's all he wants to see is the white flag. It's all he cares about at this point. Then he'll care about the checker.
Anything that's going to happen, let it happen. Let me see that white flag first, and then you guys can dish it out.
Do whatever you want.
Yep.
I don't care. I don't care after the white. Do whatever you want after that.
Jeff Wright got to the back of Lehman, got a look.
They just crashed in 3. Ray Massey, Michael Jones, Justin Ritchie, Brandon Wallace. We just talked about it, and there's the yellow.
It was a mile and a half left. If that.
He got the 2. He just couldn't get the 1.
Nathan Ferrata just torpedoed. I'm not sure what that was.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it coming. They stacked up behind the 22 of Michael Jones, and I think it was actually Justin Ritchie that got into Ferrata, but it's just...
Okay.
Yeah, Ritchie just piled him in there. It actually helped Ferrata in a way because he avoided it because of it, but oh goodness. Kenny Kibbe is probably going to be blaming us for that, but that is sickening. I think Ritchie thinks Ferrata's going to dive into 3, and he checks up harder than he thinks he's gonna. just causes that crash. No other way to put it. 29 did a good job avoiding it. Poor Brandon Wallace. Couldn't check up for big damage. Depending on how this restart goes, Kenny Kibbe may or may not be happy. Well, he won't be happy with Justin Ritchie either way, but what do you do? Because 2 tires, I think, is certainly in the... Well, you pit, no doubt. It's whether it's 2 or 4. If you...
Yeah, I'm taking 2.
If you stay out, you're not going to win the race.
Taking 2 if I'm Kibbe. I don't want anybody else in front of me.
Looks like no lead lap cars are staying out, which is expected. The restarts here are so squirrely. I don't know if 2 tires gets...
You have to.
2 turn 1.
You gotta just pray that you can keep it together.
I bet a lot of money Banks takes 2.
I don't want a chance of anybody getting in front of me. It is so hard to pass here. I'm taking 2.
I wouldn't blame Kibbe if he did. Got to nail your pit stall, by the way. He did. I'd be Bailey Turner's probably taking 2. Banks is probably taking 2. I mean, tires wear, but not as they would in the real world.
Kibbe.
Kibbe took 4. Looks like Kibbe's out. Looks like Joshua Banks is going to be the one. He was the only one, I think, to take 2 tires. He's gotten out first.
Oh, no.
I'll be honest, I thought more would. But I don't blame Banks for this one bit. He dominated the race, lost track position at a bad time. And, you know, when you lead that many laps, you kind of have to try to win it and do something. And I don't blame him for this one bit.
Well, 2 tires. Kenny Kibbe, who had the closing laps, yes.
Oh, gosh. Oh, kind of standard in Saturday Night Racing League. It happens a lot.
Love Hail Marys, though.
We had a green white checkered at Daytona and Auto Club, and you know, last 2 weeks have actually been smooth, and Darlington, anything but. We're past 40 laps. By the way, we go to Martinsville next week.
Oh, thanks.
A great lead in the Easter, Darlington, Martinsville.
Martinsville will be fun. I hope you buy a 6-pack before that one, though.
I'll buy a hot dog. I'll buy a 6-pack of hot dogs. I'll do the 9-9. You can't do a 9-9 and 9 challenge. A 9-9 and however many laps they do next week. But this is going to be an interesting restart. I mean, Banks has to fire off with little wheel spin as best he can. And, you know, clean air matters. If he can get in front of the 14, he could maybe try to mirror drive him, but I think it's going to be real tough. Kibbe, it's all about timing it. He just has to time it. If Kibbe can be single file in the second, I think he'll have a much easier time trying to take this win back.
Green-white checkered attempt number 1 out of 3. Joshua Banks back to the top spot. Into the restart zone we go. Kibbe, who almost had the victory with a white flag just in his reach. He's going to be battling on the outside. He'll get a little loose into 1. Jeff Wright on the back bumper.
Oh, he hit the wall.
Hard into the wall. Jeff Wright around.
Don't know yellow yet. There's still no yellow yet. There's still no yellow. My goodness, there it is. Finally, the caution comes out. Goodness. And we'll get another green-white checkered.
You could have played around in this.
I doubt everyone was in that. Oh, my goodness. Stephen Davis is up to 4th, and you know, we talked about the restarts being squirrely, but Banks got away fine. But Kibbe was way sideways on the top side. Hit the wall in the middle 1 and 2, kind of stacked things up, and then I think he hits the wall, gets loose, hits it again right there. And I don't even know if he caused the 48 to spin. I think everyone hit the wall and just lost it. Oh my goodness, Case Lacatus got through there.
Ooh, there's a number of people we need to take it on board with.
Let's see if Jeff Wright hit Kibbe, or it looked like he just wrecked on his own as well. I think everyone just had such little grip out of 2 that they all just wrecked. Oh, man. Wow.
That was Caleb Weekly. I got another one for you. If you thought that one was good, watch this.
been laughter back here. Dakota Floyd's out of the race. Rob Hamp's out of the race. Look at all these cars all over the place. Oh, he did get into Lakatos a little bit. Oh, man. Oh, goodness. He absolutely threaded the needle after booting the 50. Noah Mahalski got the lucky dog out of that, and now he's one of the cleaner cars on track. I can't believe how long the yellow did not come out for, but I wish we could get another view of that, because Kibbe definitely hit the wall, and, you know, Lehman kind of slid, but it almost looked like Jeff Wright followed him into the wall, and then he got turned, maybe by Turner. It almost seemed like everyone just followed the 14 into the wall, and there was such little grip, they all wrecked. Kibbe's going to be second with damage. He had a 2 here. Yeah, it was Kibbe, because Kibbe hit the wall, and Jeff Wright hit the rear bumper of him, and it just sent the 48 down the track. And just look how many cars got piled up in this. Didn't even really mention how Bailey Turner was involved in that. Rob Hamp was going to get a top 5, ends up in nothing for him. And all of a sudden, the 2-tire call looks good. Belke got through it pretty clean. And now, let's do it again with damaged cars. Why not?
And Ferrata back up here to the top 3 in the closing laps. Chuck Sweeting.
He's got damage.
Caleb Beakley there.
The next furthest car up with no damage is, I think, Stephen Davis for now. Everyone else in the top 10 besides the 35, the 60, the 89, and the 63 and 21 are damaged. Max Costa's in 9th. This is the absolutely topsy-turvy finish.
Rob Hamp, Dakota Floyd's off the track. Bailey Turner's done for the day.
Justin Ritchie has no rear bumper. I don't know how that's going to work. But somehow Kenny Kibbe can still win this race. He's going to get a points penalty for causing the crash under 15% left in the race. But if he can get a better launch, he still has 4 tires.
Green-white checkered number 2 here at Darlington. 147 laps wasn't enough. We're going to go 153. Green flag back underway. Kibbe with a damage on the right front.
He had a better jump. Rear. Better jump that time, though. He's clear to second. Oh, they're wrecking at the back. John Sanu spun, and they didn't even really wreck, but it brought the caution out. That was a restart Kibbe needed. Sanu hit the wall, came down to the Mahalski. So the one bad thing about automatic yellows, that probably wouldn't be a yellow, but it does trigger it because he got sideways. And now, Kenny Kibbe, one more chance.
Closing laps at Darlington never disappoint. Connor, I don't know. I think Kibbe's got enough damage that Banks can run away with this.
Like, the real test is 3 and 4. If we can get green and to get to the white flag and get through turns 3 and 4, that's when we would see if the tires matter and if 4 tires are going to work out, but we haven't gotten out of turn 2 cleanly yet.
Will this race finish under green? That's the other question.
I'm starting to fear not if we're wrecking before we even get to turn 2. I mean, that one was before turn 2. I don't know.
Lights are on, officially.
It wasn't supposed to end really this dark.
Track has cooled off tremendously as well.
I think that plays into Banks' favor because the pace picks up a lot and the tires matter. Maybe a little bit less because of how cool it gets. 82 degrees. Remember, it was 94 around the time of green flag pit stops. Matt Shanowski gets a lucky dog. He was first driver. Well, he was 2 laps down. So I think Mahalski, Sanu, who were the causes of that crash, they were both a lap down. So it goes to Shanowski, who was the next driver, any laps down. So unfortunately for the 03 and 86, they brought the 31 into their battle.
And there will be no more cautions from here on out. We will double back up and
Well,
take one more stab at it.
Well,
Well, yeah,
no more
I mean,
restarts.
no more restarts. This is the no more waiver rounds, I guess is what I was going for. It is what it is at this point.
You know, that was all Kenny Kibbe could do on that restart, the second restart. He got a launch good enough to where he was clear to second. I think with Ferrata in third, that might be tougher to do. But like we mentioned, we got to get the turn 3 and 4 and see if 4 tires can grip up through there better than 2. And maybe that gives Kibbe a chance to get to the 35's bumper, maybe root him up out of the groove and take the victory. But obviously, it's pretty, at this point, with how cool the track is, turns 1 and 2 is going to be pretty full throttle, even though it's slick. So it's just about getting to the other end of a track and see if those tires work, even with that damage.
Banks the focus car for this last restart. Can Kenny Kibbe match it on the outside? You have Nathan Ferrata, Chuck Sweeting, Stephen Davis in the top 5. Caleb Weekly, who had the points lead at one point. Could he get back to that? Austin Belkey, Justin Carey in the 21. Justin Ritchie, Angelo Heronis. Max Koss just outside the top 10 for this final restart. Last green-white checkered here from Darlington, race 5. Lots of wheel spin on the front row.
Oh, that's a great restart for Kibbe, though. He stayed right with the 35.
He's got the 77 to the inside. He's going to get a good run here off of 2.
77. Oh, he's loose, though, with that rear bumper damage. Joshua Banks got just shot out of turn number 2, got away.
And out of 3 and 4 to take the white flag. Car to the outside of Kibbe. He'll hold him off for now. Joshua Banks has one more time around.
That rear bumper damage is hurting Kibbe too much off the corners.
And the 35 is going to set sail by about a half a second. Joshua Banks at the track too tough to tame finds a way to do so. 3 and 4 for the final time. Joshua Banks is going to win week number 5 here at Darlington.
What a crazy finish. Max Koss comes up short at the line. I didn't see what happened to him, but he just all of a sudden lifted like he was out of fuel, so he dropped back in the running order. But what a recovery. Banks was dominating, then he was out of it, then he was back in it.
Flipped the script at the end of this race. Just completely threw it out the window. I think it came down to 48 and 57 at the end of that without that caution that triggered it all.
Very well could have. Didn't end up being the case. Jeff Wright recovered for an okay finish, but the points picture will look a little bit different as car flips on the pit road. God has flipped on pit entry. Joshua Banks doesn't care about that. 2 tires was always the call.
Post-race interviews with your top 3, the final race results for week number 5. Best race I think we've seen so far in season number 6. Back with more on VSPEED right after this.
Cup Series. What a finish!
Too little, too late from behind, and Sebastian Marin, your first repeat top split winner of the qualifying series.
We knew it was just a matter of time. Hunter Sr. is victorious.
Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa.
GC Spider Motorsports takes home the 1-2-3 finish.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time, so I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Welcome back live here at Darlington Raceway, where week number 5 has concluded. We used all 3 of our green-white checkered attempts to find our victor. It's Joshua Banks in the number 35. What a surprise win. I mean, I thought Kenny Kibbe had it there at the end. I mean, you can give me your opinion, Connor, but we were less than a mile away.
I mean, no doubt Kibbe had it. I mean, he had a 2-second lead, took the 2 to go, and then the yellow fell. And, you know, when he goes back and watches that, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for sure, knowing that they wrecked racing for around, you know, the 10th position.
Yeah, it's 11th, I think.
Definitely one he's not going to probably want to relive anytime soon.
He does end up with a top 3 out of this. Joshua Banks, as we mentioned, gets the victory. 5 cautions, 6 lead changes, and 4 of those cautions coming in the last 20 laps of this race. Nathan Ferrata will get a top 3, and we'll get a word with the 77, the 14, and the 35 in just a moment. Chuck Sweeting with a top 5. He's going to gain 4 positions and end up in the top 5 with Stephen Davis, 21 spots gained. He said it was too early to give that Clark Print Shop Biggest Mover Award away. You were right. You got Caleb Weekly up 15, and then you have Austin Belkey, who gained 22 spots. You go back to Justin Carey, Angelo Horonis, and J.R. Shepard for the top 10. I think tied there for the biggest mover was the 20 of Brian Dibb.
Stephen Davis was up 21 positions, and I think 22 positions for Austin Belkey, and then 19 for Justin Carey. Philip Brewer ended up 11th out of all that. Jeff Wright clawed back to 12th with a damaged race car. Brian Dean was up 22 positions as well. So yes, Belkey and Dean, I believe they tied for that. Brought it back. Lavick 14th. Max Cost, he kind of just lost power out of turn 4. I'm not sure why, but he was going to get seemingly a top 10 finish. He ended up 15th. Casey Licata 16th. Tim Shinofsky recovered for 17th. I think he'll take that. Ben Lafter 18th. Justin Ritchie, who kind of triggered that yellow with 2 laps to go in the race, he ends up 19th. And Noah Mahalski, first driver lap down, ends up 20th position.
A little bit of a connection issue here. If you are buffering, I apologize for that, but we're going to continue through our final race results. John Sanu will finish in 21st with Matt Shinofsky in 22nd. Mark McFadden and James Lehman, who started on the pole, finishing in 24th. Go back here to Bailey Turner. Tough break, early exit for the 24. Rob Hampel finished in 26th. Dakota Floyd in 27th. Early exit for him as well. Brandon Wallace, Ray Massey, and Michael Jones, who could have came home with a top 10, was actually part of that incident there at the tail end of the race. 8 more cars to talk about with Brian Chambliss. Chris Hodges got a few laps down very early in this race. Chad Klinger, an early exit during green flag. AJ Stravado will finish in 34th. Had a connection issue to start this night out. Eldon Stewart, who got head-on calamity there. Elliott Butler, Bryce Shoemaker, and Keith Shoemaker to round out your field. I'm going to do a little bit of an adjustment here to try to fix the problem. We've had a little bit of drop frames here tonight, so we're going to try to fix this problem real quick. But Connor Horn, I'm gonna lead it off to you for just a moment to give maybe a little bit of a recap while I try to fix this.
Well, I mean, we saw a lot of tire fall off at the start, and we just saw how tough, even with the update, just like we saw last week in Las Vegas, we saw how tough it was to pass. I mean, Joshua Banks, I don't think was the fastest car at any point in this race, and he just was able to get the pole, or he was able to get second, get the track position over James Lehman at the start, and then just maintained enough. I mean, we saw so many times Jeff Wright tried to pass him, could not get it done. Even after the first yellow, he came inches from passing him pit road, couldn't get it done. We saw those guys, Bailey Turner, Dakota Floyd, solid top 5 runs. Nathan Ferrata had speed before the pit speeding penalty dropped him back. He never really fully recovered until the end of the race, where he got up into the top 3 at the end there. Philip Brewer had some pace as well. And then, chaos broke loose. I think Banks was probably going to lose the race on strategy. Jeff Wright, Dakota Floyd played it right. But then lap traffic, fresher tires got into older tires, kind of caused a whole mix-up of the scoring. And then it just flipped on its head. You had Jeff Wright stay out on older tires, while some of those guys who had already pit but gotten back on the lead lap, they pit for another set of tires, just like Kenny Kibbe. Kibbe gets by Jeff Wright after Wright hit the wall. Kibbe got the lead, 2 to go. He's going to win the race. Nope. They wrecked for 10th with Michael Jones and a few others. Justin Ritchie, probably the cause of it. And then it flipped on its head again. Joshua Banks takes 2 tires, gets out ahead. But Kenny Kibbe, even with 4 tires, he didn't fire off. He hit the wall. And then, a dozen cars wrecked down to back on the first green, white checkered. And that's what Banks needed. I mean, everyone who was a threat to him got damaged at some point in that big wreck. And Banks was able to get away on that final restart. Had to use all 3 green, white checkers, I believe, for the second time this season. But Joshua Banks, it was the one that almost got away, but it came back to him in a crazy, crazy way.
So with that, we're going to bring up your race winner, Joshua Banks. And it's, man, how much did this race flip and flop? You go from the beginning where you dominate the race. I think it was somewhere around 110 laps led. You just dominate the front and defend the position. Then we have a caution that throws you off strategy. You're not able to get on the lead lap. You're deep in the field. Just, I mean, take us through the roller coaster of emotions that this race was.
I'm telling you, man, I was the most locked in I've been in a race being up front in a long time. I think the last time I was that locked in leading was at Milwaukee. I was actually thinking about it just a little bit ago, actually. But when we were racing Milwaukee, I think in this car, and Jeff was just hounding me lap after lap after lap, and I just had to be consistent. So like super locked in, super focused, trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to get him on the long run and keep him behind me? Obviously the dirty air helped, but first run didn't do very good. I was getting a little frustrated because he was definitely getting better runs and better tire wear on his car than I was. And the second run started figuring a couple things out. Definitely had to keep it locked in, though, keep the pressure from affecting my line and everything with Jeff. But I was doing, once we got to that 100 lap mark and I felt like I was pulling away from Jeff a little bit, I felt good. The pit stop cycle got me a little nervous because I was like, well, last week I got screwed on that, making a call too soon, and thought maybe this one I'd go a little later, maybe get the fresher tire this time. And we didn't know how that was going to turn out because of the caution. And that's where I just, everything was downhill. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I saw I got the lucky dog, but then realized, okay, lucky dog has to go to the rear. So I had to drop all the way to the back. But then everybody's like, hey, you could have just stayed put because of the way the scoring was. And I was like, I didn't know. Nobody told me anything. So I'm restarting 15, 16, as y'all probably might know. And it's like, yeah, the race is gone. Got screwed by the scoring. And I had no clue we're going to have a caution. I know SNR is notorious for having late race cautions, but with 2 to go and then a caution comes out, it blew my mind. And I knew from that point it was going to be a 2-tire call. And by golly, we made it work, dude. I couldn't believe it. My heart rate, I have the Fitbit, the Apple Watch on, and it told me the highest it got was 159 beats per minute. So the heart was racing just like I was tonight, and come out with a win. And I am absolutely stoked.
Banksy the iRacer needs to have a heart rate monitor up on the stream. We need to link that Fitbit because I guarantee you that thing would be through the roof. It'd be upper 130s the whole time. And especially, after leading that race, defending Jeff Wright, and then you have those fireworks where the caution sets you back deep in the field. You raced your way back up there to 11th or 10th position before that yellow came out, but you had to drive really hard to get there. And by that point, you're just thinking, okay, I'm going to salvage the day. What a gift there with that caution at 2 to go.
Huge gift. I mean, it's so ironic, we got Jeff out here, and the only way I know is because, we talk about this a lot, but Jeff Wright, when he's leading these races and dominating and everything, caution comes out and it's usually screwing him at the end of the race. It's funny that the caution here helped me. It's ironic, and made the right call to get put in the right position to try to go for the win, and it just worked out. It's just funny how that all played out, but I don't like it though. I really wish we wouldn't do that, and I would everything just goes smoothly. But we got to come back from all the negatives and make it a positive, and here we are. So fight through adversity and just get her done is what I can say about it.
Well, Josh, we appreciate you coming up here, Victory Lane. You're no stranger to it, and I think this is another one of those races that you're going to go back and reflect on. Of course, you can catch Banksy the iRacer on YouTube. Go back and see that roller coaster that was being rode here tonight at the track Too Tough to Tame. Joshua Banks, anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Man. Well, we got to shout out the sponsors. We got to shout out you guys up in the booth, and I'm going to switch it to my car so I get all the sponsors. But first, you guys up in the booth for putting on what y'all do, and appreciate all the work y'all put into it. I bet the show was pretty fun to watch and broadcast, so definitely look forward to watching back this one and seeing how things unfolded from a broadcast perspective. And then also our sponsors, we got M&J Distributors, which is me, of course, but Walk and Roll and Costumes, Clark Print Shop, 29 Graphics, FireStorm Racing, JS Studios, Juicy Spider, all those guys for hopping on board and being a part of this league. It's so much appreciated and allowing us to continue what we do each and every week. And looking forward to next week. I'm not sure exactly what track it's at. I didn't look ahead of that schedule to remember. But hopefully we can keep this momentum going, get some good finishes consistently, and get back up in those points, because that's key. We started out rough, but with this win, with the second place last week, I feel momentum building, and we just got to keep it rolling.
A lot of momentum. It's a long season all the way into August, but you are on the right track here. Appreciate you coming up here and talking to us, Joshua, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you in the after party. Hang around here and we'll get to talk to you.
That's right, boy. I'll check you out then. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right. Joshua Banks, race winner here at Darlington, 119 laps led. So you wanted to take Kibby. I don't know how he's going to feel. Connor, do your best, man, because this guy maybe not happy with the turnout of this one.
Well, I think you keep Banks to limited words better than me, so I'd rather go with Kenny Kibbe in that aspect. But obviously, not the finish you wanted, Kibbe, in a certain way. I mean, you did get second place, and you ran pretty well all day, and compared to your long run pace, maybe overachieved a little bit, but you were at 1.33 miles away from winning. Take us through that whole final 40 laps in the green white checkers, and what were you thinking when the yellow came out?
Yeah, so we did have pretty good pace today, but it was easy to really get stalled out once you reach like top 5 or 10 or whatever. So I thought my best chance to get a win was to run the undercut strategy on that last long green flag run. So I was kind of the first of the front runners to pit, and it was going to work out great. Because when things started to cycle out, none of them other guys were even close to me. Now, granted, they were going to have fresher tires and they could maybe run me down, but it was going to be interesting because I thought that my long run pace was quite good, especially if I wasn't stuck behind people. But then that caution came out and made things really weird. And for me, it was a no-brainer. I was going to take tires and I would fall wherever I was going to fall. And shockingly, I ended up second. I don't know how that worked out, but I'm not going to question it. It ended up being great because I'm pretty sure Jeff had older tires than we did. I didn't know that at first, but we got going and I could just kind of tell. So got the lead, and I knew Lehman had the same tires as me because I saw him in the pit lane with me. But then I was pretty confident I could stay ahead of him on the long run. So then, yeah, we were off scot-free, and then, yeah, 2 laps to go, and the caution came out, and my heart sank. I was like, what the heck? So if you guys remember last season at Rockingham, I stayed out on old tires on a green white checkered situation, and that lost me the race. So I thought I'm going to take 4, and then I can at least play offense. And then Josh, I believe, took 2. And then the next restart, I screwed up. I just got too loose, caused a big accident. Sorry to everybody that was in that. And just tried my best to get back to Josh, but then I had damage after that, and took me a couple laps to get going anyway. So kudos to Josh for nailing the restarts. And yeah, I'm happy with second, but also kind of gutted that we couldn't just finish it on the long run there.
Yeah, definitely tough seeing that late yellow. You were still able to get a good finish even with the damage, and like you mentioned the stalling out. We seem to see a lot of that with the 35-48 kind of being a big part of that. Do you think part of that is just the skill of the league? Is it just the aero really dumping on the front of these cars, or maybe a mix of both?
Well, yeah, I think it is a mix of both. When you're running a fixed setup league, everybody's driving the same equipment. So you get those top guys up there and everybody's pretty close on skill level, and you can't just be a little bit faster than somebody. You really have to be a lot faster than somebody, and that doesn't happen too often. So, or you got to, force people into making mistakes and things like that. And so yeah, I just kind of tried to take what I could get, and then just bide my time the rest of the time. Most of the time here, I'm just racing the racetrack, and that seems to be a really good strategy overall. Just trying to find clean air and find space to run in and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge, and with the groove being so narrow here, your options are sometimes limited as far as getting clean air on the nose. And we're all adjusting to this new update, but I'm still happy with how the B car races overall.
I'd say happy for sure. No finishes better than 7th. At every finish inside top 15 first 3 races, but ever since the Aero update, 2 top 5s, 5th and 2nd, maybe one better at the Gauntlet at Martinsville. But good run for you, Kenny. Thanks for talking to us. I know else you want to shout out.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody at SNRL for coming together every week for these races, all the admins and the sponsors, you guys at VSPEED for the broadcasts, all my teammates. We all had pretty solid runs tonight, and everybody that watches me rides on board with me on Twitch.
Unofficially 2nd in points, subject to change. But either way, good start to the season for you, Kenny. Looking for that first championship. Thanks for talking to us. We'll see you in a week.
All right, thanks.
Only damage 14 there. Excuse me. Just I had a cold all week, Connor, so I'm just trying to hold it together at this point.
I think we all are after that finish.
Yeah, I was actually having a little bit of a sneeze fit there for just a second, so I'm going to get on to our 3rd place finisher. That's a Nathan Ferrata in the 77. And Nathan, you started in 3rd, you end up back there, But this race, I mean, we talked to the top 3 or the top 2 drivers. How was your race as a whole?
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, first of all, first good qualifying of the season. First top 5 qualifying. Somehow I got mirrored back to 20th just every qualifying. So qualifying up front felt really good. I got a speeding penalty on the first pit stop. Then I got really loose off 4 coming to my outlap on the second pit stop. So pit stops just weren't there for me today. But I'm just really happy to rebound from all of that and get a 3rd place finish right there. There was some really good racing, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I believe, and Connor, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the only driver to get a win in the Challenger Series and in the Cup Series. And you could go back and correct me on that, but I know that you have the potential to win at any track at any given moment. Did you feel like with that caution, you had a real opportunity there to maybe strike one up here on week 5?
Yeah, I felt like I had a shot being on the inside on that last restart. Just I don't know why, but coming to turns 3 and 4, I got really tight. And once that happened, I was like, okay, I'm just going to stick with 3rd and call it a day. But yeah, I felt like I had a real shot after those lucky cautions right there and avoiding all those wrecks. But yeah, I had no idea Banks was on 2 tires, so that was one hell of a job by him for holding on to 1st, and a really good race by Kenny on that 2nd place finish.
Yeah, and some might argue that this race could have went entirely different. I think Kenny Kibbe probably ends up with the win. You're definitely in the top 10 there, but this makes it even better with those late race cautions. 3 green-white checkers to finish this thing out. Verada, this is the first time we've talked to you in season 6, so go ahead and shout out the people that put this car on the racetrack.
Yeah, as always, thanks to for Analytics for sponsoring me in this race and pretty much all season. Thank you guys for an amazing broadcast, and to my girlfriend who's watching me right now. I was trying to rock a Brendan Gaughan paint scheme today, so had a sleek, really good looking paint scheme out on track, so felt really good. And yeah, it was a great race, so I really enjoyed it, and I really hope to talk to you guys more often this season.
Got plenty of opportunity all the way into August, so we look forward to seeing possible Nathan Ferrata up here at Martinsville. Until then, buddy.
Until then, have a good night. Thanks.
3rd place finisher in the 77, Brendan Gaughan. You know, we don't see too many of those paint schemes, and it wasn't throwback weekend. I know that we've done that in the past here at this racetrack. I already told Jeff Wright, I said, if you guys have a turnout of 38 cars, I don't think I can make the graphic for that. That's a lot to try to put together.
I still feel horrible because I definitely called that a Morgan McClure 4-car throwback, and I was wrong. I don't know how I messed that up because obviously Brendan Gaughan drove that car, but I was definitely wrong on that. By the way, hey, he's the 2nd driver to win in both series. Brian Chambliss won in the Challenger Series twice, and he had that fuel victory at Atlanta. But obviously he's one of the more prominent drivers that have come and won in a Challenger Series and then won in the Premier Series. I believe Chambliss did it in the opposite order, if I'm not mistaken. But good recovery for Ferrata after this early speeding penalty. What a race. Crazy, topsy-turvy. It's not really surprising being it's Darlington. Joshua Banks kind of just sat on Jeff Wright's front bumper the entire first half of the race, and then green flag pit stops. Was the 48 going to win it? Maybe Kibbe's undercut won it. Didn't get to see it unfold. Then Kibbe took the tires on the yellow, got by Jeff Wright, had it won, and then 2 to go, the yellow comes out, and then everything goes topsy-turvy again, and turns out 2 tires was the right call. We kind of doubted it, especially when Banks was the only one who took 2 tires, but ends up getting him his first victory of the season and puts him back up much higher in the points. He gained 10 positions unofficially tonight in the points. He's back up into the top 10 and looking to chase down the 48.
It's a lot of math here, but I'm going to try to quickly factor this up. When we had 147 miles, now it was 200 and or 147 laps. It was 216 miles with 159 to total this thing out. So that's half a cup race right there. That's a long one. And I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's action, but we have more action to come next week. Well, you mentioned it to me. I said get a six-pack. You said hot dogs, so does that give it away?
Get 6 of both.
There you go. Martinsville coming up on the schedule. You can catch it here live on VSPEED every single week. Saturday Night Racing League. We're going to have Easter Sunday and that weekend off, so Easter Saturday, I'll call it, when it's Martinsville. March 28th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, live here on VSPEED. You can have Connor Horn and Bradley Cooper up in the broadcast booth. We also have Goat Locker Racing that goes live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time just prior to this race. You can catch that action. Goat Locker has racing 6 days a week for your viewing pleasure. We have Racing Revolution, Mystic, and the Cup Series. We have a lot going on, every discipline all the way through. But for Connor Horn, Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, and Morgan Cook, this is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Darlington Raceway. We hope you enjoyed tonight's action, and we'll see you next week for SNR at Martinsville. Stay tracking, everybody.